U.S. and Israeli officials are set to hold discreet meetings on the reopening of a U.S. consulate in Jerusalem. So for more on this, let's bring in the host of the Yair Netanyahu Show and international relations analyst, Yair Netanyahu. Welcome back to Wake Up America, Yair.
Hello, good morning.
So the White House is looking to reopen a U.S. consulate in Jerusalem that was actually shut down by the Trump administration, but it was mainly used to negotiate with the Palestinian authorities. So what could this do to U.S.-Israeli ties if it were to follow through, the Biden administration, on this consulate?
This is really outrageous. This is a present that this administration is giving to the Palestinians who just 2 weeks ago had their formal manifesto published calling for the annihilation of Israel and a genocide of all the Jews that living in Israel. This is a present of this administration to the Palestinians that celebrated 9/11, that are persecuting Christians, that are persecuting gays, that are having no human rights and democracy in their territories, and are funding terrorists with about a quarter of the budget of the Palestinian Authority. This is a slap in the face of the most trusted and loyal ally of the United States, Israel, and this is unacceptable.
And I think it's worth noting, too, that even though Israeli officials are saying that they're willing to talk about this, they're largely saying that this is a non-starter. Just last week, they were saying that essentially this would deteriorate U.S.-Israeli ties. And this comes as, by the way, that the Israeli Air Force is resuming drills to better prepare for airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. So when we look at all of this in totality, are we seeing a change in posture from Israel in a way that perhaps suggests that it doesn't really have faith in the U.S. anymore as an ally?
Well, Israel doesn't have any better and stronger ally of the United States. But the current administration is sadly preferring the enemies of the United States on expense of their allies. It prefers Iran on expense of Israel and the Gulf states. And this is very unfortunate.
And I just want to touch on this in totality because I think it kind of brings us all into context. Israel, by the way, is now approving the construction of 4,400 new homes in the West Bank next week, 3,100 in the Jewish settlements and 1,300 in the Palestinian villages. We know that it doesn't take much to spur a conflict between Palestinians and the Jewish states. Do you fear that that could be the case?
Well, you know, this happens every once in a while because the Palestinians don't accept the Jews living in Israel, period, in any boundaries, in any place. The only acceptable solution for the Palestinians, as they published it officially and pretty honestly 2 weeks ago, is the annihilation of every single Jew in the Holy Land.
And I know that we're going to be covering that throughout this hour, too, so we'll get more information on that. But Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, the right-wing leader who actually lived in a settlement, he's in his fourth month of power now. So how is his tenure different than perhaps those of the previous Netanyahu governments?
Well, he has no power because he barely passes the threshold of getting elected to the parliament in all the polls in the next elections. He have no base. He is the most loaded politician in Israeli history, I think, because of his betrayal of the camp that he's coming from, the conservative camp, and letting the left wing and the Muslim Brotherhood having, for the first time, a government in Israel. So he has no power in his own government. He's just a puppet prime minister.
And Yair, before I let you go, it's Friday. We want to get on a little bit of a lighter note. Your father celebrated his 72nd birthday yesterday. He's the leader of the opposition party. So I guess just to lighten things up, how did he celebrate, if at all? And what can we expect from him in the near future?
Oh, well, yes, he's the head of the opposition. And we just had a small gathering of family and friends, nothing too big. And his first mission and most important mission is to bring down this government and bring the new elections in Israel. That all the polls shows that he's going to win big time.
Well, we wish him a happy birthday. We wish you a good weekend as well. Happy Friday. Yair Netanyahu, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you.